And then they continued. They walked from Mecca to Abyar Ali, which is at that time called Al-Hif, and they put the ihram clothes, and they moved on, and so-called Saqul Hadi. Al-Hadi means you get the camel or whatever you're gonna sacrifice, and you mark it in the upper part of the camel, or you put some aqlada, which is like a big thing hanging from his neck. That means that this camel is for Al-Haram, for the poor people in Al-Haram. And no one can even ride on this camel out of respect for the Haram, so they just walk next to the Prophet and the companions. When someone is so-called Yasuq al-Hadi, or bringing this Hadi in front of him, no way he's coming to fight. There's no way that nobody should be worried about this. And the Prophet continued, but the news went to Quraysh that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam in his way with 1,400 people, and they are armed. Actually, they were not armed in a sense that they're going to go for a fight, but they were worried about betrayal, that Quraysh might do something, so they have to be on guard. But the weapons or the swords was hidden, was not really exposed. So Quraysh decided to have a big army to prevent Prophet Muhammad from going to so-called the Haram area. The Haram area is the borders around Mecca that if you go into it, no one can kick you out, right? The Haram area, which is every area around Mecca except Arafat. Muzdalifah, Mina are in the Haram area. So if anyone goes there, by the law that they have among themselves, you cannot push him out, right? Because Quraysh is basically the custodian of Al-Haram to make sure that everyone who's coming for Umrah or Hajj, he will have this right. So Quraysh said, like, we have to stop him from getting into the area which we cannot kick him out. So they put a big army with the leadership of Sayyidina Khalid ibn al-Walid in the road close to Mecca to block him. But the Prophet realized what's going on, so he looked for someone who knows the road to get him behind the army, the Quraysh army. So there was a guy, he said, he took them, and they actually arrived to an area few feet away from the borders of Al-Haram. Al-Haram, I do not mean the Kaaba. Al-Haram is the Haram area which is designated as Haram, right? And that pushed so much powerful feeling in the hearts of the companion. The Haram is within reach. We are few feet away from him, right? And that was a thrilling feeling that, alhamdulillah, we're so close. I remember, this is outside the subject now, I remember once I was taking my children and going to Umrah from Cairo, Egypt, and we supposed to take a ship from Safaga, which on the Red Sea, to Jeddah. But when we arrived to Safaja seaport, they said, no, you cannot come from this. You have to go to Jordan because your visa is not through this area, which means we're not going to go. And I had my son, my children, and Sheikh Yasser was about 7, 8 years old, and he realized that we're not going to go. So he kept holding my clothes. Baba, we're not going to go to Mecca, we're not going to go to Sayyidina Muhammad. And his face was tears, and he was beside himself, right? I said, subhanAllah, when I was reading this to prepare, I said to myself, see, little kid that he knew that we're going to be prevented from going to the Kaaba, he just got beside himself. How about these people that already, so many of them are from Mecca, and so many of them missed 6 years, they were not allowed to go to make Umrah. It was very difficult on them. Now they are within few feet from getting into the area, right? So Sayyidina Khalid, but here's a surprise thing. The Prophet, they arrived to the area, but instead of going straight into the Haram area, something amazing happened. The camel, which is called Al-Qaswa, of Prophet Muhammad sat down and did not move. They push, they kick, no way, she's not moving. Right? Then the Prophet said, leave her. حبسها حابس الفيل. It was restricted from movement by the same one who restricted the elephant from moving when the Abraha came from Yemen to destroy Al-Kaaba, and he has big elephants, and this big elephant this cannot move. You put him towards Yemen, he goes back. Towards the Kaaba, he doesn't move, right? So he said the same one who restricted her movement is the same one who did the same thing with the elephant, right? This statement, the Prophet understood it, but the companion did not get it. Why? When your emotions are so high that I'm so close, I'm going to go do tawaf, I'm going to مش عارف ايه, this and that, and all of a sudden this camel is not moving, so no, so who's a big deal? We're going to go anyhow, right? But the Prophet got the message. If Habis al-Fil, which is Allah, restricted this camel from movement, that means he's not going to continue. So he stopped. And then Quraysh was very puzzled. Now they got very confused. Why are you coming all the way and you few feet away from getting in and you're not getting in, right? This is to them is an amazing thing and surprise. And if you are sitting outside, that means you want to fight, right? If you're really coming for Umrah, then move in. This way, after a few feet, we cannot kick you out. So they got confused. But in the meantime, Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Sugar or honey? طيب. No, I have been training him for so long that I don't drink sugar, and he's still bringing sugar. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. So here it is now a situation that confused the Meccans, and the companion did not get it, and they just waiting, right? The Prophet sat, and he started waiting for Meccan people to respond. So he started sending envoys, one after the other. They sent about 4 people. Each one has a specific characteristics, right? One of them came in and he saw them. He said, Ya Muhammad, what's your intention? He said, my intention is, we suqna al-hadi, we have the thing that we're going to slaughter, and we just want to make Umrah and leave. So he went back to them, said, what do you want to prevent him for? He's not coming for... So he asked him, so what do you have the swords for? He said, just in case of Quraysh betrayed us and started attacking. But we are not going to take it out of thieves, right? So anyhow, then they sent another guy that the Prophet looked at him, he said, he is devious. And he came in, he looked, and then he went back to them and he said, I do not know what to tell you. He could be this or he could be that. Then they said, okay, let us send the leader of the Ahbash. Ahbash means the people from Ethiopia. And this guy he is a very respectable, and also he's the leader of the big tribe which is from Ethiopia. The Prophet, when he saw him coming from far, he said, this guy is a man of God. Just put the Hajj in front of you. Put the camels and whatever we're going to slaughter in front of you. He came in and he looked, and he did not, he said, well, that's not people coming for fight. These people come for Hajj, right? And who can provide people coming to give the poor people around the Haram and coming for, to prevent them? And he went back and he told the leaders of Quraysh, you cannot do that. He is coming actually for so and so and so. So they said, أنت عربي لا تفهم. يعني because they're arrogant. They said, you're just an Arab. Because the Quraysh think of themselves are above everybody, right? He said, you do not know nothing, right? So he got very upset. And he decided to take all the Ethiopians and fight for Muhammad to come and do the Umrah, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So they told him, all right, just wait, be patient, and let us see what we can do. All right, we're going to take care of that. Then they sent, the third one was, Al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah. This, I'm sorry, a man called Urwa ibn Mas'ud al-Thaqafi. Urwa, he is the leader of Thaqif. He is a big leader. So he told them, look, I'm not like the one who went before. If I go, I want guarantee from you guys that you're going to respect what I say. They said, okay. He went and he decided he was a big negotiator. So he decided to provoke the Muslims to get them to get to know really what's their motives. So he sat and then he started saying, Ya Muhammad, if you think this people is going to protect you from Quraysh, you're mistaken. When Quraysh comes down hard, they already put the so-called the tiger skin, which is they wear it in wars. They put like a tiger skin around their waist. He said like they ready to kill, right? And these people around you will run away and abandon you. So wise up. So Sayyidina Abu Bakr heard this. He said, abandon him, and he said a very bad word to him, right? Which is to provoke him. He's coming to provoke. But Sayyidina Abu Bakr said a very bad statement to him. And he said, who is this? He said, this is Ibn Abi Quhafa. This is Abu Bakr. He said, if it wasn't for the fact that he already have lots of favor towards me, I would have said the same thing to him, but I'm not going to say it. And then he went furthermore to aggravate the companion. He went and held Prophet Muhammad's beard. And he started saying, Ya Muhammad. Then the private guard for Sayyidina Muhammad, his name is Al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah, who is the nephew of Urwa. Yani Urwa, this is his nephew. So Mughira saw Urwa, his uncle, holding the Prophet's beard. He got with his sword, and not to cut, he hit him with the sword but backwards, in such a way not to cut his hand. And he said, if you extend your hand again, it will never come back to you. Right? So the Prophet, but he was covering everything about himself, right? So he said, Ya Muhammad, who is this? This vulgar, rough person. He said, this is your nephew. This is your nephew, Al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah. So he was puzzled. And then it was time for Salah. He's sitting, and then he saw the Prophet making wudu, and all the companion running to take every drop of water and wipe their body, right? Not one drop of water go on the ground. And he left. He got up and left. He told him, look, wallahi, I saw Hercules in his domain. I saw the Persian king. I saw the Roman emperor. I saw Nagashi, and I met all of them. I haven't seen someone that his followers have this love and they're willing to do anything for him like Muhammad and his companion, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they said, so what do you suggest? He said, just let him do the Umrah and don't really stop him. That's not wise, right? They did not. They looked at him and they couldn't do it. It's too much for them. And by the way, I'm going to ask you, inshallah, what kind of lessons that you learn from every step in this story. Right? I have few lessons, but I want you, inshallah, to share what's your input in this. Then this was a situation where stalemate, right? Then the Prophet decided to do, let me send people from my side to go get to the bottom of the situation, right? So he asked Sayyidina Umar. Sayyidina Umar said, Ya Rasulullah, you know, I have very bad rapport with Quraysh, and my tribe is too tiny, and they will hurt me. But Uthman ibn Affan, he has a big tribe. He is a big figure in their life, and he will be a better negotiator than me. So the Prophet agreed with him and said, Sayyidina Uthman. Sayyidina Uthman went and he started talking to them. Of course, Sidna Uthman was very rich, very prestigious person. So what happened is they told him, Ya Abu Abdurrahman, please go ahead, make tawaf. He said, tawaf without the Prophet? Huh, the Prophet has to do tawaf first. I will never do that, right? And then Sidna Uthman did something else. He started going, because there were so many Muslims in Mecca that hiding their Islam. He started going to them and giving them, so like, very soon you're going to have good news, very soon we're going to have fatih, very soon we're going to... He was trying to empower them. Quraysh found this, they got very upset. And they restricted his movement not to go anywhere. The idea was, how dare you are to do this, right? Then the rumor spread that Uthman was killed. Uthman was killed because a few days nobody's answering and Uthman is not back. So the Prophet called the Sahaba and he said, now it's time for Sheikh Radwan. How many minutes? 10 hours? Taka Allah? طيب. So the Prophet, when he realized that Uthman, the rumor said that he's killed, you know, not that only Uthman, but Uthman is his son-in-law, Uthman is one of his favorite people, and you cannot go like this. So anyhow, he called the Sahaba and he said, like, it's time for bay'ah. Bay'ah means pledge of that you're going to fight to the last drop or for death, right? Either one. Some scholars said, like, bay'ah al-maut, to big pledge that I will die for this cause, and the other one said, like, for fighting for Sayyidina Uthman. When Quraysh saw the bay'ah was very unbelievable. The companion was rushing, right? And there was 4 women in that bay'ah. And the 4 of them, one of them is Sayyidina Ammu Amara, Nusayba bint Ka'b. When she said that, she tied her clothes around her waist, she put the knife and ready, right? And the other did the same. So the eyes of Quraysh was just like, what's going on here? Even the women go that extreme, right? So Quraysh started saying, like, okay, now hold on, let us go to the top negotiator. His name is Suhail ibn Amr. Suhail ibn Amr is like a foreign minister, the previous one. But before Suhail, something happened. Quraysh wants to aggravate the Prophet and the companion. They send 40 to 50 people in the night to try to kidnap some of the Muslims, some of the companions. The Prophet was awake, so he forwarded the Sahaba and they captured all of them. And that was a bad beginning. Now it looks like there's going to be a war. But you know, the Prophet had it in his mind that Allah is the one that stopped my camel from proceeding. Then I will do anything to make it peaceful, to make it for negotiation, not confrontation, right? So he released the 40, but he released them from a position of strength, right? Because they already know, Quraysh already know that Muhammad and his companion are so ready and they ready to go, right? And nothing's going to stop them. But when they released the 40, there were another 12 with horses and ready, and they start coming to do the same thing, just to provoke the Muslim for whatever it is. So what, again, the Prophet, they sent those who captured all of them and talk to them and send them back free, right? So far, the Prophet is doing everything to say, it's peaceful. I'm not here to confront, right? So they said, like, it looks like we have to start negotiating. They send who? Suhail ibn Amr. Suhail ibn Amr is a big name, and he's a great negotiator. And he came in and he sat in front of the Prophet, and he started lecturing, going over what is Quraysh, what is Misharif A, and who are you, and all the stuff. And then the Prophet, respectfully listening, and say, what do you suggest? He started suggesting the following. The first one, which he was so harsh on the companion, is to go back this year. Don't go for Umrah this year. You have to go back this year. And next year, you come back, we're going to give you 3 days to come with no weapons. And Quraysh will empty Mecca for you to make Umrah and leave no more than 3 days. The companions are boiling. They are in a state of ready to explode. And what's next? This is the first item. What's the second item? That if we're going to have a treaty, peace treaty for 10 years, that we are not going to attack and you are not going to attack. We're going to have a peaceful, and everybody will know that we are not into, that Mecca and Medina or Yathrib are already in peace treaty, so that will be it. Let me just go over the other items. By the way, I have a lot, but I'm not going to say all the stuff, right? Just don't get scared. All right. The second one is the second one was the Prophet's dream. The Prophet's dream was to go into the Kaaba, right? That was very heavy on them. We were promised that we're going to go to make Umrah this year, right? The third one was while they writing the treaty, a man, his name is Abu Jandal, who is Suhail ibn Amr, the chief negotiator, come with chains in his feet, and he's saying, what? Ya Muhammad, I'm coming to become Muslim, right? So the companion, especially Sayyidina Umar, said, Ya Rasulullah, we did not sign a treaty yet. We're just talking. We didn't write anything yet. So we should take him in. So his father, Suhail ibn Amr, said that, Ya Muhammad, is not enough the words between us? It has to be papers? The Prophet said, no, you're right. Words enough. And he decided not to allow Abu Jandal to get in. Abu Jandal started crying. Ya Rasulullah, you send me back to the kafir, to taftinni fi dini, to put me in that tough test. Ya Rasulullah. Then the companions start crying. And that was another tough feeling on them. Right? What do you mean, Ya Rasulullah? He said, we honor our treaties. We cannot, yes, we give the word, that's it. Right? So the third thing was, when we started writing the treaty, what's happened is, the Prophet said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Suhail said, what Rahman Rahim? We don't believe Rahman Rahim. We only know Bismika Allahumma, Bismika Allahumma. That's it, that's all we do. Mafish حاجة اسمها Rahman Rahim. So the companion said, Sayyidina Ali was writing. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I cannot erase Rahman Rahim. So the Prophet said, show me where it is. And the Prophet erased Rahman Rahim. And that was another thing that made them furious. The fourth thing is, he says, تعاهد محمد رسول الله مع سهيل ibn Amr. Muhammad Rasulullah, he said, if we believe that you are Rasulullah, why would he fight you? We don't, to us you're not Rasulullah, just write your name and your father's name. He said, sure. From Muhammad ibn Abdullah and Suhail ibn Amr, right? Now, Sayyidina Ali said, I cannot do this. I cannot remove Rasulullah. So the Prophet again removed himself, Rasulullah, right? While the companion are, the temperature and the blood pressure is going up and up and up, right? And then the next item, which was very humiliating, is this, that anyone that comes to Islam and go to Medina, Prophet Muhammad will return him. And anyone from Mecca leave Islam, and anyone from Medina leave Islam and come back to Mecca, they are not going to return him. And the Prophet said, sure. I agree. موافق. Accept. So the companions start really going to the so-called abnormal phase. And Sayyidina Umar start being himself. You know, by the way, Sayyidina Umar in this particular time, he did things that is not acceptable. But this is Sayyidina Umar. You have to understand, when Sayyidina Umar became Muslim, you know what he did? Everybody was supposedly in secrecy. He is the one who called the biggest mouth in Mecca and told him, go announce that Umar became Muslim. Right? So, and he himself was challenging anyone that being upset with him. I am a Muslim now. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. So that is Umar. And he kept fighting and fighting for hours. So Sayyidina Umar is not an easy job. The second thing is, when he was immigrating from Mecca to Medina, everybody was going what? In secrecy. Except Sayyidina Umar, he said what? He said, whoever wants his mother to lose him, follow me. Right? So Sayyidina Umar, this is him, right? So he is not going to take this situation like this. So he goes to Abu Bakr. He said, Ya Abu Bakr, isn't he Rasulullah? Isn't he the messenger of Allah? He said, yes, he is. He said, aren't we the Muslim? He said, yes. Aren't they the kafir? He said, yes. He said, why do we accept this humiliating treaty? For what? He said, Ya Umar, ilzam gharza. Yani, Ya Umar, stick, he's Rasulullah. Don't go above what he decides, stop there. So Umar didn't stop. He went to Sayyidina Muhammad and he said, Ya Rasulullah, alasta Rasulullah, mish anta Rasulullah? He said, yes. He said, alasna Muslimin, aren't we Muslim? He said, yes. Aren't they kafir? Yes. So why do we accept this humiliating treaty? He said, Ya Umar, Allah, I will never disobey Allah, and Allah will never put us in jeopardy. But still Sayyidina Umar did not get it. Yani, he's telling him is, what I am doing is something inspired by Allah, and he's not gonna put me in any bad situation. So calm down, right? But Umar kept doing this to the point that others start getting mad at him, right? But anyhow, Sayyidina Umar, now the companions are finished, the treaty is signed. Then Suhail ibn Amr got up and he decided, now what's going on now? What are you going to do? So the Prophet looked at the companion and said, it's time to shave your head and to slaughter the hajj, the camels, this kind of thing, and take off the ihram clothes. So they looked at him and no one, not one person, obeyed the Prophet. He repeated again. No one obeyed him. No one. Right? So the Prophet got so sad because that means that the punishment of Allah will come. So he went to Sayyidah Salama, who was his wife. He was with him in that trip. So he went and she said, what's wrong, Ya Rasulullah? He said, he did not say anything. He just was overwhelmed with sadness. She said, Ya Rasulullah, what's wrong? He said, halak al-Sahaba. The Sahaba is ruining themselves. What happened, Ya Rasulullah? She said, I told them to do so and so and so, and they disobeyed. All of them, without exception, ignored my orders. She said, Ya Rasulullah, innahum makrubun. They are really very troubled. They are going through a very tough time. Just to go outside and get the guy to shave your head and to slaughter your camel and take off your haram clothes. And they will follow. Don't worry about it. And then he listened to her. He got outside and he got the guy. He shaved his head and he slaughtered the camel, and all the Sahaba start running to do the same thing. But the scene here, I want you to live the scene for a minute. The Sahaba, you cannot shave your own head, right? So they were shaving each other's head. But they were furious, right? So their head was bleeding because the one who was shaving was going like this. and instead of shaving, so it's just like a bloody situation, right? The and this is Sahaba said, the Prophet said, غفر الله للمحلقين, may Allah forgive those who shave their head. Then one of them said, Ya Rasulullah wal muqassirin. He said, غفر الله للمحلقين 3 times. And then wal muqassirin. So I said to myself, if I was there, I know there's forgiveness, but I'm not going to shave my head the way they're doing it, because it's a butchering, right? So, but here's the situation. Look at the great Prophet of Allah and say like, Islam and women, right? Here it is in the most difficult moment of his life that he never faced before. Who did he listen to? Sayyidah Salama, his wife, right? He didn't say, hey, you're just a woman, you do not know what you're talking about. I'm going to get Abu Bakr or Shafi. No. This is how much respect our beloved Prophet for the wife, and does exactly what she said. And in the meantime, the treaty says, if, that if anyone comes from Mecca to Medina, that you have to return him. Anyone from Medina to Mecca, to keep him, right? But the only violation is women. The Prophet and the Sahaba said, we cannot send our women back. We can send the men back, but we cannot send the men back, our women back. And the Quran was revealed commanding them for that, right? And telling them, لا ترجعوهن الكفار. Don't send them back to the kafir. لا هم يحلون لهم ولا هم يحلون لهن. يعني they're not halal for each other. خلاص. Men is different story, right? And that is something that you should pause and say like, this is how Islam look at the women? Yes, right? Number one, those women that came in and gave bay'ah after the treaty, you think they came against, because their husbands say, اتفضلي يا حبيبتي روحي? No, they came through a very tough time, right? To leave Mecca, to come and join the Prophet, right? And that is a decision that not a wimp will take, will be a person with dignity and strength. And that was the women at that time that came to Medina. طيب. Now, look at Abu Jandal was a heartbreaking story. But there is something else that happened that was so difficult. A man, his name Abu Basir, now the Prophet and the companion are back to Medina. Abu Basir came in and Quraysh sent 2 men behind him to bring him back to Quraysh. So when Abu Basir arrived, what happened is the 2 men said, Ya Rasulullah, the treaty, we need them back. So the Prophet said, sure. He tried, it didn't work out. So he has to go back. So in the way back, they were resting near Abiyar Ali. So he got up and he took the sword and he killed one of them. The other one ran back to Sayyidina Muhammad. And he said, Ya Rasulullah, he killed my Shafi, he's going to kill me wherever it is. So the Prophet told him, what's happening? He said, Ya Rasulullah, you did what you're supposed to do. You give me back to them. You are out of it. You don't have to get into this situation anymore. What I have with them is between me and them, but you are out of it, right? He said, yes, you're right. I gave you to them, right? He said, all right, now I want to stay in Medina. He said, no, you cannot, right? But the Prophet made a statement. The statement, he looked at him and he said, what a man if he has some fighters with him. He just did the statement, right? What a man, this is Abu Basir now. What a man if he has some fighters with him. Abu Basir took it and understood what it means. It means that go fight, do something on your own, but I cannot give you openly what to do, right? So Abu Basir, instead of going back to Mecca, he went to a small town on the shore between Mecca and Medina. I'm sorry, between Mecca and Medina, yes. This area was where the trade and food and kind of thing for Mecca comes back and forth, right? Abu Basir started guerrilla warfare. Means what? The the caravans going to Mecca, he start attacking, right? And the Meccans start suffering, right? Then 70 people joined him. 70 people from the oppressed in Mecca said, well, we cannot go to Medina, so we have a door here for jihad. Let's go. Let's go with Abu Basir. They went with Abu Basir, right? And became a very effective unit, right? But it didn't stop at that. About 300 more joined them. It became like a big army. Quraysh tried to go back and destroy them. It couldn't because they didn't face him. Because they only going for guerrilla warfare. Run, kill and run, hit and run, this kind of thing. And that is the worst thing. There is no army can stand against this. And Quraysh is not going to camp for 6 months in that area. But the problem is the food supply started dwindling and they have severe shortage. So they send a convoy to Prophet Muhammad, Ya Rasulullah, can you kindly cancel the part of the agreement about those who become believers to send them back? No, keep them. We don't want them. In other words, and whoever become Muslim, keep him. We have no problem with this. And Sayyidina Rasulullah, he called Sayyidina Umar and he told him, Ya Umar, what do you think of this? They're begging us to abandon something that they're so proud of it, that anyone that comes from Muhammad, we don't return him. Anyone goes to Muhammad, he has to return him. Big success, right? But the problem is they presented a big challenge to Quraysh, and then the Prophet, because they started the food supply to Mecca becomes going down and down, and he does not want that. Prophet Muhammad is extremely merciful, tender-hearted person. He said, no, I don't want them to have starvation. So he said, okay. Right. And then he sent to Abu Basir a letter. He said, Abu Basir, we so and so and so, and come back to Medina. The letter arrived to Abu Basir. He looked at it, and then he died. And he put the letter on his chest, and they buried him with the letter, and everybody went back to Medina. Now, everybody think that, where is the Fath? The Quran was revealed in three major statements in the Quran. First one, Inna fatahna laka fathan mubina. Fath means a great thing is going to open up to you, and it's going to be so clear that it's going to be a breakthrough, big thing, right? So Sayyidina Umar, when the ayah was revealed, said, like, where's the Fath, right? But look what happened is, the Prophet in the treaty has, any tribe that want to align with Prophet Muhammad, they can. Any tribe want to align with Quraysh, they can. So there was 2 tribes that fighting. Banu Bakr aligned with Quraysh, Khuza'a aligned with Prophet Muhammad. So after a couple of years, Khuza'a and Banu Bakr start preaching the treaty and start killing and whatever it is for Khuza'a. They sent to Prophet Muhammad, then the treaty was cancelled, right? But the thing is this, now it was time to open Mecca for Islam. You know how many in 2 years came to Islam? So in 19 years was 1400. In 19 years, 13 years in Mecca and 6 years in Medina only was 1400. After this treaty, it was 10,000 soldiers going with Prophet Muhammad to Mecca after 2 years. Why is this? Because, brothers and sisters, Islam in a peaceful atmosphere, you cannot compete with it. If you don't have this so much propaganda and all the stuff, right? You cannot argue with Islam. Wallahi, I don't remember any time I had a discussion with a non-Muslim and he did not tell me, makes sense, or but I cannot do anything about it. I agree. That's fine, right? But so Islam, when there is a peaceful atmosphere, right? That's why they want to keep you under stress, so not to spread Islam. And Allah knows what is September 11 is all about. Allah knows what is this tremendous propaganda about Islam is all about. But you know what? In my heart, it's about how to control the spread of Islam. And you know how many things in Europe, how many Muslims, the percentage of Islam in Europe and in Holland in 2025 will be so and so, in France will be so and so. All the stuff is to them is alarming. Why? If there is a peaceful discussion, your Islam prevails, right? So, and what happened is Quraysh after this, right now, we were exhausted from fighting Muhammad. Now let us enjoy ourselves and calm down. And they started ignoring the other allies, the tribes. And who started being active with the other tribes? The Muslims. So the tribes started coming to Islam, and Quraysh started losing the prestige. So this is Fath, right? The other ayah that was revealed and so beautiful, the ayah was saying, لَقَدْ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنِ الَّذِينَ يُبَايِعُونَكَ تَحْتَ الشَّجَرَةِ فَعَلِمَ مَا فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ فَأَنزَلَ السَّكِينَةَ عَلَى وَأَثَابَهُمْ فَتْحًا عَظِيمًا. So look at this. There is Basyala. There is about 1,400 people sitting with Prophet Muhammad under a tree. Imagine for a minute, right? Just for a minute, that Sayyidina Jibreel comes down and says, like, those of you who are sitting in ICPC Clifton listening to this are forgiven and Allah is pleased with you. Wallahi, you're going to be the happiest person in the world. Now the Quran is saying, you guys, 1,400 sitting under the tree, making pledge with Prophet Muhammad, لَقَدْ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنِ الَّذِينَ يُبَايِعُونَكَ. Allah is pleased with each and every one of you. Think of this, how that will make them feel. Right away, the sakina and the calmness, because they were boiling, right? Now everything is calmed down. He says, and the Prophet looked at them and he said, Wallahi, innakum la'abarru khalqillah. You are the greatest human being to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? And that is sad when you feel some of the brothers from the Shia sect, they say that all the Muslims converted except 7. They went back to kufr. Astaghfirullah, if the Quran says 1,400, Allah is pleased with them, guaranteed Jannah, and you can't say something nonsense like this, it's not right. But in any time. So this ayat that comes down saying this, and just to give you one more. Here it is. Right. Right. Just takes so much long time, but I don't want to keep you waiting, because I'm going to ask you, what do you get out of this? What is the lessons? That's what I promised you from the beginning, that you're going to participate in telling me what lesson did you learn from this story, right? This is the leadership that everybody knows that this is the messenger of Allah. And at one point, they defied the Prophet, right? And this is the first time ever that happens, right? This is the greatest people to defy. And if I ask you, what do you make out of this, right? What do you make out of this? What is the lesson to be learned from this? Anybody wants to answer this? Tfaddal. Okay? Have faith in Allah. Okay, beautiful. You have leaders, right? The leader told them, but they disobeyed, right? But here you have to learn that this leader is a messenger of Allah, is not a regular leader. If it's a regular leader, I will not follow him. Why? Because this does not make sense to us, right? But if the Prophet said, my Lord is the one who did this, the one who kept the camel is so on is Allah, this kind of thing, then you have to know it is no longer Prophet Muhammad ijtihad or imagination. No, this is Allah, right? And that is why a surah, Surah Al-Hujurat was revealed at that time. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقدموا بين يدي الله ورسوله. You believer, do not تقدموا means put your opinion in front of Allah and His Messenger. If this is what Allah and the Messenger said, then you have to say سمعنا وأطعنا. Because you do not know. We don't have wahi now. There is no revelation. خلاص? So the leadership has to understand the weakness and have to share why we're doing this and kind of thing. And not in everything they're going to share everything, but at least they have to understand that we are human and you are not having wahi as a leader, right? But here, Prophet Muhammad is no longer with us. And the wahi stopped. طيب, if this ayah has any relevance anymore, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقدموا بين يدي الله ورسوله, don't present your views in front of Allah and the Messenger. If this ayah has any value now, I'm asking. The question, who's asking? Okay, the question is, the ayah says, you believer, لا تقدموا بين يدي الله ورسوله, right in front of Allah and between the Prophet's hand, don't present your views that he already have his opinion. His opinion, should keep it for yourself. If this ayah has any relevance to us now, what is it? Yes, exactly. The Quran and the Prophet's seerah has been kept. So you know very well that in certain areas that if that is what Allah says and what the Messenger says, you keep your opinion for yourself, right? وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُمْ خِيرَةٌ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ. If it would never to be that if any believer that Allah and the Messenger determine certain things, you cannot argue with it. You just follow it. Even you might not understand the wisdom behind it, right? But we follow, right? This is extremely important. There's so many ayat that was revealed, and there's so many things to be learned from this ghazwa. So again, just another 5 minutes, if anybody. Okay, the treaty was not written when this first guy came in, right? Abu Jandal. It was not written yet. And Sidna Umar says, like, there's no treaty yet. But his father said, no, it's not enough. The word, we already talked, right? The Prophet said, yes, is enough, right? And then the treaty started being written after this. Yeah. We are the people that when we agree on something, it doesn't matter if written or not, right? Right. So, any comment? Yes, Isha.
Yeah, you said that the peace brings sometimes more success in Islam. Right now, I'm seeing this practically because what happened that there's some skirmish happened between Pakistan and India, and the Pakistani leader, Prime Minister, sent 3-time messages to India that we want a peace, but they attack on Pakistan. And what happened? They lose three of their planes. Pakistan got more success. Pakistan captured their pilot and returned the pilot because of they said we want a good gesture, we want a peace. So the peace is bringing more success to Pakistan. It's everything looks like it's coming from Allah. And one of the commentator, TV commentator, said that it looks like that Allah is helping us. So I'm seeing this practically, and this happened this week, last week.
I'm following this, and this is a very good example. Pakistan is not responding to the provocative nature of India, right? And by the way, if there's a nuclear war between India and Pakistan, you know what? The damage will cover Europe, Asia, and everybody else, right? So the whole world are holding their breath. We don't want to go to this. Pakistan is gaining ground with everybody. Why? Europe is so scared of any nuclear war, because both of them are nuclear forces, right? So Pakistan is saying, no, we are so and so and so and so. So now people are respecting Pakistan much more than India. That's provoking Pakistan on and on, right? So you're absolutely correct. Pakistan is a Muslim nation, and inshallah they have the guidance of the lessons from the seerah of the Prophet and how the Muslims should conduct themselves. Any other comment? Huh? Oh, they were restricting him because he was going from the Muslim one house to the house. No, he sent him back. Right? Now, if he didn't send him back, it would be a war. Right? No, but don't forget, he became the Khalifa. If they killed him, there will be no Khalifa. Right? What's so funny? Yeah. Raise your voice. Wallah, Sheikh Radwan, while I was preparing for this subject, I said to myself, how sad it is still at this age, I did not put lots of effort to study this beautiful story of our deen and the seerah of our beloved Prophet. Right? Wallahi, brothers and sisters, if Allah is pleased with you, يفقهك في الدين. من أراد الله به خيرا يفقهه. If Allah is happy with you, He will make you enjoy studying your deen, the seerah of the Prophet and the beauty of the Quran. There's so much, the more you know, I say to myself, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will do me this great favor or send me back to be your Ajad, right? I will put every effort to study the seerah of the Prophet and the Quran and Arabic, of course. If I know it's not going to happen, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to continue for the last day in my life to study the seerah of the Prophet and the Quran, inshallah. Any question? Wala? Nothing?
I have a comment.
Fadl.
You just said that in today's world, living today's leaders, you will not be living today's Muslim leaders.
Yes.
I don't think that all the Muslim leaders in today's world are also bad. We have to pick the right one, all the right one. If we live like negative, then we will not progress as a Muslim.
If you consider the Muslim leaders like bin Salman and bin Zayed and Sisi, that's not what I'm talking about, brothers, right? This is anti-Muslim leaders, anti-Islamic leaders, right? But, huh? Yeah, but not head of state. يعني instead of Erdogan is the one that could be. No, but if you talk about يعني, like assume for example local leaders, right? يعني we have every masjid has a board, right? Because I have been in this area for about 50 years, right? I saw so many board fights, right? That is sad, right? But the bottom line is, again, at the end of the day, we still have something. Someone will come and say, Allah says, Prophet Muhammad says, and people go back to the senses. This fight is going to go on. Why? Because we do not have that leader that we all look at him and say, look, this is the one, right? This is the one what's going to rally about him, right? It's going to happen once we start working on it. Yani, for example, I look at these kids sitting here, right, in the house of Allah, listening, sitting politely. I said, Wallahi, one of these people will be our leaders, right? Yani, you have to be optimistic. You have to be optimistic, inshallah. Any comment? Sisters, I was teaching in Bergen Community College, and I was giving an oral test, and the class was mainly girls. I said, answer me. She said, Professor, صوت عورة, the voice of the woman is عورة, I cannot talk. I said, shut up and answer me, right? So صوت المرأة is not عورة. If you have a question or comment, please feel free. Now.
Nobody can talk to him. Why? Why do that? He's a president. Don't say why. You say سمعا وطاعة. Okay. Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, so he now you Salama, he told him, Muhammad, do that.
Yeah.
Go outside,
Yeah.
shave your head,
Right.
slaughter your camel. He told them, it's okay, he
Yeah.
did it. Before, Sayyidina Sulaiman al-Farisi, radiallahu anhu,
Yeah.
told me how you can make al-Khandaq.
Yeah.
Before that, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he want to do the Medina, ask about the farm, النخيل,
Right.
عملية تلقيح.
Yeah.
فقال لهم سيبوه,
Yeah.
leave it. This Allah he did it, it should be good.
Okay, I see your point.
Yes.
Look, Shabab, pay attention to this. The point that Abu Yahya is presenting is this. But isn't the Prophet his nature to consult Shura? Yes, he is. Prophet Muhammad had Shura in every battle, right? He consulted. And he, as a matter of fact, in Ghazwat Uhud, his opinion was not to go outside Medina. And the companion said, no, 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 we have to go outside. And he followed them. But I want you to pay attention to this. The reason this time he did not consult with anyone, because it was wahy. It wasn't shura, it wasn't consultation, right? Otherwise, Prophet Muhammad in Ghazwat Badr, the guy told him, Ya Rasulullah, why are you sitting here? Right? This is not a good area. He said, why? He said, let us go to where the water wells are. And the Prophet said, oh, good idea, let's go, right? So the Prophet, in any kind of discussion or any kind of shura, he was okay. But this one was wahy, right? Wahy prevail over any mashura, right? Now, when after the whole thing, when the Prophet brought Sayyidina Umar and said, Ya Umar, what do you think of the results of Sulh al-Hudaybiyah? He said, Ya Rasulullah, whatever you say is barakah, is from Allah, it is. And Umar realized that there is a certain thing that I have to stop. I cannot exceed this. That's why, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, la tuqaddimu bayna yaday Allahi wa Rasulih. In an area where there is wahy, you stop. But in area there is mashura, yes, right? And that was Prophet Muhammad. Even after the Battle of Uhud, with the defeat was against Prophet Muhammad's opinion, you know what is the ayah that came in after this? وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. Still consult with them in everything that has to do with life, right? Any other question? Naam? Yes, the wahy, if there is wahy, khalas, right? And by the way, the wahy means the Quran. In our time, means the Quran, right? If the Quran says in this issue so and so and so, سمعنا وأطعنا, right? Because we have wahy. Other than this, يعني when Sayyidina Jabir was going to Yemen, the Prophet said, Ya Jabir, how are you going to rule? He said, by Kitabullah. He said, if you find in Kitabullah, he said, Sunnat Rasulullah. He said, if you don't find, he said, Ajtahid al-Ra'i. Al-Awwal, the Quran, Sunnah, and then I will do ijtihad. I'll use my expertise and my ijtihad, right? This is the way we do it, right? Any other comment? وإياكم سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. One last comment. When I was preparing this and the Prophet was telling Sayyidina Jabir, Ya Jabir, irja, go, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you ease and do so and so and so and so. What came to my mind, the sisters, they're being pushed and kicked and their hijab is being pulled in Israel, right? And wallahi, while I'm preparing for this, it came to my mind the picture, because it hurts me a lot to see a practicing Muslim sister, mujahida, that being humiliated the way the Israeli does it, right? It's just, I cannot take it. I cannot even look at it. But I said to myself, now, when? No, all time. It's going on for a long time. When I was reading the Prophet Muhammad respond to Sayyidina نعم لا مش جابر سيدنا سهيل سيدنا جندل Abu Jandal, when he said to him, so and so Allah will this and that, I said, inshallah, that will be the same for the sister in Palestine, right? And those who are oppressed in every area, regardless if it is in Syria, regardless if it is Central Africa, regardless if it is in Burma, inshallah, from this kind of agony will come فتح قريب إن شاء الله. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم.
الشخص الكبير اللي تعلمته تعمل الموت
يا شيخ